we'll do something on slope. Do you all remember the slope formula, or should we write that in our notes? Does anyone want me to write it in our notes? I will if you want. Yes? Okay. So the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over, I guess you can have parentheses, x2 minus x1. Or you can do y1 minus y2, but then you would do x1 minus x2. Either is fine. Okay, so let's do an example. Find the slope between -1, 7, and 5, -3. Okay. So I'll do the y's in green, and then I'll do the slope, the x's in blue. So x's are the first things, they're going to go on the bottom. Y's are the second things, they're going to go on the top. So your answer to this question should be m equals, m is like the letter we use for slope, 7 minus a -3. Do I normally write 7 minus a -3 though? How would I write that? Do I write 7 minus a -3? What is 7 minus a -3? That'd be 7 plus 3, yeah. And then if I did 7 plus 3, this is going to be -1 minus 5. 7 plus 3 is 10. -1 minus 5 is -6. What are the ways we could write that? Could we write it as a decimal? Sure. We could also reduce it and write it as -5/3. Okay. So the very first thing you're going to be asked to do on your quiz and on your review is to find the slope between 2 points. I'm not going to do a graph because I think you all are pretty good at counting rise over run. I don't think I need to do an example like that. Okay, let's talk about graphing. So here's slope. Let's talk about graphing in slope intercept. Can somebody shout out for me what's slope intercept form? What is it? Y equals mx plus b. Would you put a box around m and a box around b? The reason you're putting a box around those things is those are going to be numbers. You're going to see numbers. This number here is your slope, and the number here is your y-intercept. So, if I asked you to graph y equals -2/3 plus 1, where would we Okay, so I'm going to just put a 1 on here. Y-intercept, notice where I put it on the y-axis, not the x-axis. And I'm going to just count.
Please excuse this interruption. If anyone has seen Mr. Dan Holden, please report to the office. Thank you.
He's hiding. Okay, down 2 over 3. Okay, down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Anyone's watching this video, they get like the real school experience. It's like they're hearing announcements. Too bad we weren't recording when we were doing the fire drill. Then they would have been able to experience a fire drill virtually. Okay. How are we doing? What's that? Last. How about the homework from last night? Should we do an example like that with intercepts? So that was called standard form. And oh no, just made that. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. That's what it looks like. And I'm not going to put a box around anything because a and b are not things on the graph, unfortunately. Standard form is, we use it a lot when we're making word problems, like because they make sense for when we have word situations, which we'll start a little bit next week. Here's what we do. We find the x-intercept. If I write x-int, will you know what that means? Okay. The way you find the x-intercept is you put 0 in for y. You find the y-intercept. You plug it in for x. And then you graph the intercepts. Now, Peyton, I'm picking on you only because I know I looked at your homework and I saw you did it this way. You can rearrange these to be slope-intercept form, and then you graph them just like this. Well, I'm not going to go through that again because I already talked about that here. This is something new, so we should talk about that. So here we go. What if I said graph 2x minus 3y equals 9? So, what you would do is you'd find the x-intercept. And the way I find the x-intercept is I take 0 and I plug it in for y. So let's do that. I have 2x minus 3 times 0 equals 9. What happens to this minus 3 times 0? It cancels. How would you solve that equation? Let's divide by 2. What do you got? Anyone? Good. So the x-intercept is 4.5, which is the same as 4.50. Let's do the y-intercept. What do I plug 0 in for this time? X. Yeah. 2 times 0. Put it in for x. Now, here's the deal. If you don't want to write that down every time, that's fine. If you know, you're like, oh, that just cancels that, and you know, hey, that just cancels that, and that's going to be left. I'm okay with that. All right, what do I divide by this time? -3. Y equals -3, or 0, -3. And then I simply plot those two separate points and connect them. So 4.50, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I did that, 4.5 would be halfway between 4 and 5. And I'm going to go down 3.